Boris Borisov Production presents documentary video film Kenya, Tanzania, Zanzibar, 2013.
Many of you have seen the first version of this video that I posted a while back. A quick shout out to those that watched it over 1 million times. Thank you all. I'm reposting this re-edited version for two reasons. First, monetization, and the second, copyright restrictions made it unavailable to many regions the first time around. When I made the video back in 2013, I had no plans of publishing and much less of monetizing it. My intentions were just to share it with my family and friends, just for fun really. Sometime in 2019, I decided to put some effort into developing a Russian and English audience on YouTube. I didn't expect it to do so well, but I'm glad it happened. The original video has now gained over 1.1 million views, in spite of regional copyright restrictions. I've re-edited the video to make it available to a broader audience, and hopefully grow my viewership. I've also added some text and commentaries to answer many of the questions I received about the first version. The original video is still available. You guys can grab it by clicking the link in the video's description. With all that said, I really hope you enjoy this director's cut. Don't hesitate to hit the thumbs up if you like the content. Let me know what you think in the comments. There is so much more content to share with you guys, so don't forget to share and subscribe.
I'm grateful to have you even as you watch this video. I'm inviting each one of you to join Avila Children's Center, to come physical and see the grassroots of the project, to come and give your physical support, as in you can teach, if you can be able to cook for children, needy children, if you are able to feed them, if you are able to clean classrooms, you are most welcome.
The Children's Center Havila is a school that is located in the middle of the slums of a Nairobi neighborhood called Kibera. There, children learn how to read and write and frequently spend the entire day on the premises. There are only few teachers working in the school. Children are taught, fed, and take naps during their stay. There are 3 classrooms and a special space for cooking. These 3 rooms serve as the center for the daily lessons and food distribution. They are then converted into bedrooms where children sleep. There is no special educational program. Children are taught elementary knowledge of reading, writing, and basic science. Generally speaking, Havila is equivalent to a common kindergarten.
Okay, I'm Teacher Winnie, the teacher of baby class, the smallest, age 3 to 4 years. These are the baby class, this is my class. Okay, handling these babies is really that difficult, but you have to cope up with them because they are the smallest one. Okay, for the volunteers who are coming to Havila, we really thank for you for the hard work you've done, and we are expecting more in Havila. Okay, when they come, okay, we continue interacting with the children and show them how they do their work and do the activities in school and make them what to do what in right and to teach them how to be in school and good behavior.
Hi, I'm Teacher Lydia. I'm a teacher of nursery class. These are my kids, they're 12 in number, and I've been here for 2 years, and this is my 3rd year to be here, and I'm proud to be a teacher. Thank you so much.
There are many types of schools in the region. This particular school is more like kindergarten, and these teachers are more like educational nannies. They only teach the very basic skills, and there is no special educational program. The teachers are passionate professionals that dedicate themselves to caring and guiding their students. It may not look like higher education to most, especially in the West. Believe it or not, these students are considered among the privileged in their communities. The few teachers are also among the privileged. In the region of Kenya, where having any job is an advantage. They don't earn enough to live comfortably, but just the fact that they earn anything makes them almost middle class when compared to their average local peers. The school's headmaster Damatila had to move from a rural area to the slums in order to accept this job. She now lives in a cabin close to the school, which looked like a shed to my foreign eye, but it's her well-kept home. Damatila appreciates just having a way to help support her family as well as her community. As you all know by now, not all heroes wear capes, guys. Volunteers at the school are not required to have educational training. The students complete their curriculums with their teachers, and then we, volunteers, get to teach them almost anything. I found this premise heartwarming and very progressive. While the West focuses most of their attention on students passing outdated standardized tests, Kenyans value individualism, a good work ethic, basic skills, and progress.
And this nursery class is my class. This is where I normally work with my children. When you look the words, they are more the richest. We have done a lot of work with the volunteers. We have done a lot of crafts. We have used a lot of colors. And when you see our class, our words are talking because of the volunteers who normally come from other countries to come and do the work together. May God bless them when they come back. Okay, now.
Orange, isn't it?
Go. I worked in the school as a volunteer, specifically as an arts and crafts teacher. I taught a few groups of children in the age from 2 to 5 years old. In the boys group, we built handmade wooden toys. I bought hammers, nails and saws in the hardware store for this purpose. Additionally, I purchased wooden cylinders from the neighborhood wood shop, out of which we developed wheels. Then, the children connected these wheels to cars with the hammers and nails. The next task for the children was to create a graphical design for the cars. For this lesson, colored paper, pens and pencils were given to the children, who then decorated the cars. As the result of the class, the children created nice wooden cars made with their own hands.
Now, the second wheel.
It may come as a surprise to many people outside of Russia, but Russian students are trained in manual crafts depending on their gender. The boys are taught basic traditional craftsmanship in woodwork, welding, mechanical repair, and so on, while the girls are taught traditional female crafts like sewing, cooking, and so on. Don't judge me, I was born into the system, I didn't create it. My favorite subjects were always the hands-on craftsmanship courses. These courses usually took up several hours of my school day, but I was so fascinated that I never felt the time passing me by. Naturally, I chose to teach one of my favorite woodworking lessons to the students assigned to me. After all, there is nothing more interesting and exciting to kids than building things their own bare hands. My first obstacle came while trying to source materials. There aren't many craft stores in Kenya, so I was limited to wherever I could find at the local hardware store. I was scanning the shelves at the store when I suddenly realized I might be a little spoiled and used to having a lot more variety in Russia. Pine, for example, is easy to work with and, very important, easy to find in Russia. I spent the whole day in search of softwood to no avail. The only readily available wood was eucalyptus. For those that are unfamiliar, eucalyptus is extremely hard to cut with a handsaw, which is all we had to work with. The dense eucalyptus dulled our blade after just a few cuts or so. And then I had to bring it to the neighborhood smith so he could sharpen it up again. In the end, we made the best drugstore cars with the materials and tools we had available. Make the best of what you get. That's the lesson I hope I taught them. Meanwhile, they gave me a masterclass in the importance of resourcefulness, resilience, and most importantly, how a sense of community gets the job done.
The second lesson was made only for girls. They had to make a doll from papier-mâché. Papier-mâché is a style of art where you make maidens out of paper and glue. The girls were very fascinated with this process. After all maidens were dried, we started decorating and individualizing them. I bought paints for the children, which they had never seen before in their life. I also bought glue and a variety of plastic. We prepared glue made out of flour and stars for decoration. As the result, we had interesting and unusual maidens, made by children's hands.
This lesson was intended for girls only, but who could resist papier-mâché though? So we all got involved. You might notice, as I did, that all the children in this segment are wearing almost identical uniforms. Imagine my surprise when I was told that these uniforms were not purchased from a mass uniform retailer. Instead, they had all been painstakingly put together by the students' families or were otherwise hand-me-downs from family and friends. There are no uniform stores in Nairobi. There are no uniform factories either. Instead, each family received sewing patterns printed on paper before the children even ready for school. Families are given the patterns with ample time to gather materials and put them together in time for the children's first day of school. But each family has to find their way to buy the fabric and materials necessary. Everything is homemade, but you might not know it by looking at the consistency of the uniform. In Nairobi, all you get is bare materials. It's up to you to make it into something. In papier-mâché, all you get is glue and paper. It's up to you to make something out of nothing. I worked in Kibera's capital of Nairobi for a while. Nairobi is no stranger to violence. Some call it night robbery. Our school was located in Kibera, which is considered the largest urban slum in Africa. It's a humongous place where thousands of people live in cabins made out of wooden boards, plywood, clay, and even plastic advert banners taken from a neighborhood fence or building. Hundreds of thousands of people live in small crappy boxes with kids and their families. There is no severe indoor plumbing or garbage collection, but many houses have electricity. It's actually still a mystery to me how they manage to pay for the power. The best guess is that most people in this area are actually pirating their electricity poles. Despite that, you can still buy anything from chapati on the streets to very basic hotel rooms. I honestly wouldn't recommend these hotels to most foreigners. The buildings are usually the same as local homes with bare flattened soil floors. People from all over Kenya go to these slums in search of jobs. Unemployment in Kenya is extremely high, and it's almost impossible to find any work in the surrounding areas of remote villages. Kibera is known for high number of HIV positive individuals and its high crime rate. Certain areas of the slums don't even exist on Google Maps and remain completely off limits to foreigners. People in these areas are forgotten by all, even their own government, so they often resort to desperate measures in order to survive. You can easily get killed there for any of the objects we normally take for granted. That old iPhone 8 you used to take selfie with can feed a family in Kibera for weeks, if not months. Okay, right now I'm crossing the road. I'm in the Kibera slums in Nairobi, the capital of Kenya. And right now on the right, you can see these buckets with charcoal. And usually you can buy these things in almost everywhere in Kenya. By the way, people buy them and they use it just for cooking. Because in our country usually we use gas. You just go to the kitchen, open the gas and put your favorite dish at the flame. But here you go to the market, buy such a bucket, and then you bring home and use it as a heat.
This is how the slums look from the inside. There is a little street leading underneath the hill. It remembers more of a trail in a country where all kinds of filth gets poured into. From time to time you come across different shops where they sell various modest products. Even in such difficult to bear conditions, people don't lose the spirit of entrepreneurship and try to find a means to make a living. And then the group of European people is coming in opposite direction. It is funny, but I met this guy one more time in other city of Kenya called Mombasa. As discovered, these guys were volunteers from neighborhood organization, the same as I.
Yeah, right now I'm somewhere in the middle of Kibera. Right here in the street we have some kind of a square where people are having a seat selling different goods like vegetables and eggs. And by the way, life is going on right here. People are coming up and down of this road, and as you can see, It's pretty crowded and also it's very dirty. And we are continuing our excursion through the Kibera slums. Okay, so right now I'm climbing the street. The street is extremely small, but you know, while I'm taking a walk in such a small street, it reminds me streets in Italy and Spain. They have the same size, but you know, this street is a little bit different. It has the same size, but the quantity of junk laying on the ground is just absolutely amazing. And all these kids surround me one more time. It doesn't matter where you go. In Nairobi, the kids are surrounding you everywhere.
People live here in huts, some live in houses made out of stone, some in cabins made out of 3 branches crossed together. By the way, this kind of clay-walled hut can be found in southern regions in Russia and Ukraine. The one question which was on my mind: do people here have any legal documents? A bunch of huts and houses are connected with crooked paths with no end or beginning. I was walking in this area exceptionally under escort for security reason. Alien caught in such corridors, especially in the dark, doomed to certain death.
You say something.
And you are going to break the... And tell me, how are you going to renovate it? Are you going to break the whole house down and then build another one?
We don't have enough cash.
We don't have enough money.
We don't have enough cash.
We don't have enough
cash. That's why we repair this.
One wall.
One wall only.
Even the other one. Do you see the other one?
Another one.
We are supposed to.
We're supposed to demolish this one.
But
not together.
We don't have.
Because we cannot sleep outside.
In this segment, you can see how people proceed to build a cabin out of clay and wooden branches. They even use some plastic bags and traps as additional cover. This is an honest depiction of most homes in Kibera. Endless rows of houses made out of nothing. People live with no documents, permits, or any kind of legal paperwork. It's not like that in the rural part of Kenya. Even there, people live in cabins, but most of the time they are registered, and people have documents to prove ownership. Local Kibera officials have tried to destroy the slums many times with the help of tractors and bulldozers. Apparently, they haven't learned that tractors and bulldozers are no match for thousands of struggling families trying to make ends meet. As you can see in the video, locals started rebuilding their hut homes the day after their entire neighborhood was bulldozed. People come from all over Kenya to Kibera in search of work because it's the cheapest place to live. That's also close to jobs in Nairobi.
So does it happen every time when the rain comes?
It happens always.
This, you know, we are building a bad place. So when it rains, it drops the soil down. The wall.
And when the rain comes,
It shakes.
We are just shaking.
But wait a second, it can happen while you are sleeping during the night.
It happens the other day. So we covered with these gunias. You see?
Cover. Where the gunia?
What?
This is a gunia. This one. That's why we cover ourselves.
So and you call these things gunios, right?
Gunia.
Gunias.
We put them like this and then you sleep.
Look at that house.
And when the morning comes, you know how God will bless you.
So I was just walking in the street, and these 2 handsome gentlemen approached me, and we started just talking about different things. I told them that I come from Russia, and they told me that they live here, and finally they invited me to visit their house, so where they live, and right now, so we are sitting here in the sitting room, and so
I myself am Roya Mohammed Joma. This is my father. He's known as Mzee Joma Ali Abdullahi. He's one of the first black in East Africa to play rugby. But right now we don't have to encounter that. But it's only that we have so many coaches and so much. Right now you're supposed to be taken as a team manager of the Kenya team. Now can he introduce himself? This is his picture. This is his picture where he's been photographed. But
Right now we're sitting outside, right?
yes, outside.
In front of your house?
Yeah.
And these are your kids?
Yeah, right, kids.
So how many children do you have?
Okay, I've got 4 children.
4 children.
Yeah, 4 children.
And how old is the eldest?
Okay, the eldest is there. I've already finished the standard 8.
Okay.
And he's supposed to be going there to Form 4, but I don't have a school fees toward that. And also others, I'm trying to uplift them because we don't have that amount of money.
And you have to, in order to bring children to school, you have to pay for that, right?
I don't have to pay because I don't have that amount. It's only that to indicate on that subject is only that I have somebody who's a sponsor, like Boris, who can even indicate me towards the sponsorship.
All right.
Yes. Koja Debra.
And by the way, do you work? Do you have a job?
I don't have a job. I'm an artist. I'm a wrangler in the ghetto here. I normally walk asking for jobs. I'm an artist. I don't have a job, but I've gone to school.
And how many years have you been in school?
Okay, I started my school since standard 4, then only 1 to 8, 1 to Form 4, even plus college. I've been doing metal engineering. I don't have even acquire even tools like lathe machine. We need lathe machine to teach the people, even the students, even the younger people, to teach them metal work system.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when volunteers come to this house, where do they live?
They live in we have we have 5-bedroomed house. So we have this side, it's one room, the other side it's one room, the other side we have 3 bedrooms. They spend their nights in these bedrooms. We also have bathrooms, and they take their bath from the bathrooms within the house.
Okay, so for example, if 3 volunteers would come at the same time, so you are able to give each of them their own bedroom.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what about water supply? Do you have electricity here? And how does the bathroom looks from the inside? So we are not going to go there. Just tell us how does it look.
We don't have reliable water throughout the bathroom.
Okay.
We have boreholes around us, drilled water, whereby we fetch water, we bring it at home.
All right.
Yes.
What about electricity?
Electricity is not yet fixed, so we don't have electricity at home. We use hurricane lamps, kerosene, to light the lamps.
The owner of the school I worked at invited me to his country house. He is originally from a rural village called Machakos. It's a small town a few hours drive from the city of Nairobi. We loaded up into a 1985 Subaru which was close to falling apart. I must take a second thank to Japanese craftsmanship for making tough cars. Thank you, Japan. There were 4 people already sitting in the back seat when we stopped and loaded one more dude. Most Kenyans are quite small, even so it was a struggle to fit anyone in the car comfortably. I had stayed at this village before, so I was happy when we finally arrived at the place I knew well. The village consists of several shared homes, so I was flattered to be offered a private room to sleep in. Just about every local and visitor share a room. It was a basic flattened soil floor room, but nonetheless I was honored by the gesture. The room contained nothing except a bunk bed with tiny old-fashioned mattress, which seemed to have rocks in it instead of feathers or cotton. During the night, the room was flooded with all sorts of tropical insects and unknown creatures, sometimes the size of my palm, but I was used to it. By this time, I had been wandering through Eastern Africa for months. I had become accustomed to it. Yet, it was still very intriguing to experience this way of life. I almost felt like I got in a time machine. Here I was, in 2013, learning how to live off the land, and most importantly, how to live with the land. Prior to this trip, I'd only seen such things on Discovery Channel, TLC, and on YouTube. But here I am, experiencing things. Cool, huh? There is no modern work available in the village. The people here have little choice of employment. You either farm, or you cater to tourists and foreigners that trickle in. In all honesty, the village has everything you may need. My only problem came when I wanted to recharge my camera and phone equipment. The only way to manage that was with a visit downtown to use the charger in one of the shops. Once you arrive at the shop with power, you have to stand in line and then pay for the privilege. Adding to the charging dilemma is that it was extra hard to move around after sundown. The only source of light on the roads or anywhere are the same kerosene lamps used in Russia about 100 years ago. To be more precise, such lamps were used in Russia until 1920, when Lenin brought light bulb to the Russian public. To be completely honest though, living in these conditions was an unforgettable experience. It taught me so much that I will forever feel in debt to these people.
People in rural areas live very easy and decent lives. I would even say authentic. Their way of life is organized exactly like we lived in Russia more than a century ago. Only Kenyans wealthy enough can use gas cylinders for cooking. At almost any table you can see traditional African chapatis, which are made from corn or wheat. The recipe for these pancakes takes its roots from deep in African culture and hasn't changed for generations. Also, people raise poultry and cattle, so that during holidays you can see a little bit of beef or chicken stew served at the table. Electricity and water are absent, but it doesn't darken their way of life. When the sun goes down, kerosene lamps are used as their source of light. All food is very simple: rice, ugali, vegetables and a little bit of meat and chapati. During my stay, we ate dinner in darkness. Thankfully, my flashlight brought from Russia served me very well. By chance, during my stay in the African countryside, I was lucky to be in a church of a sect which is called the Salvation Army. Salvation Army is an international religious and charitable organization supported by Protestant evangelists. In 1865, the British Methodist minister William Booth created an evangelist Christian association of revival, which was later called Salvation Army. I have not ever seen such quantity of churches and other religious organizations somewhere in the world. European view of church is a little bit different than African. Here, church looks like few tens square meters barn with some rows of wooden benches and plastic chairs. Exactly in this place the Mass is taking place. The name alone, Salvation Army, speaks for itself. It seems like men of business gather money, build a barn, pick up a title, and the place for collecting donations and soul saving is ready. All churches are Catholic-like, but also mixes of Christianity and ancient African tribal cults are presented. And then I found myself here. It was just a regular hostel where I was supposed to spend my New Year Eve. It turned out to be a villa behind the fence on the shore of an ocean remade into an upscale hostel. It was the best hostel I'd ever seen in my life. A restaurant, a bar, internet, a pool, parking and security. Located nearby, it was a Porsche mall, a beach and everything you need for a contemporary style vacation. Mombasa is a tourist center of Kenya, kind of like Sochi city of Russia on the Black Sea. Gathered at the hostel were visitors from all over the world, from Australia to Canada. Then, in the nighttime, we had bright parties as well as all kinds of interesting conversations. Pemba Island is a completely different place to continental Africa. Everything is calm and quiet here. People live their quiet and easy life. Pemba is free of crime, people live in a small way and in remote areas are satisfied only with subsisting farming. If you are fed of urban cities and looking for quiet, peaceful life, Pemba Island is the best place for achieving your goal. Island is surrounded with ocean and reefs. In spite of all these views, it is not very comfortable to go swimming here. Reefs are hard and sharp. Depth of the ocean is about half a meter and water temperature rises up to 40 degrees Celsius. In addition, water is very salty and the equatorial sun is extremely hot. The best way to refresh is to take a boat and go a few hundred meters away from the shore, where water is cool and clean. I haven't seen any sharks, but probably they exist here. Pemba is a coral island in eastern Africa, which is located a little bit north of Zanzibar Island. The island is separated from the mainland by a channel and belongs to Tanzania, where it was included in 1964. The island's population is 265,000 people. I rented a motorcycle from one of the local garages in order to drive all around the island. Only one road connects all the major cities, whose size is no bigger than our area in Russia, around one bus stop. In order to navigate through numerous tracks and paths throughout the island, a motorcycle is the best vehicle. I was lucky to visit lonely beaches, remote villages, and other godforsaken places where no white man has gone before. Pemba Island is surrounded by the ocean. Locals make a living by fishing. For fishing, they use wooden boats hollowed out of a tree trunk and are set in motion with the force of a sail. You need nothing to become a fisherman. Trees grow in the forest, sails are inherited or can be borrowed, compensating the owner with fish. Local fishermen always take their children with them, who learn from the experience from a young age. Here, there are no colleges or universities, where pupils spend many years studying before they start using their knowledge. You don't receive marks and you don't write a diploma here. If you are not skilled at your work, you won't catch any fish. Catching fish is a job for all people, from youth to adults. Men go to the sea and women pick up clams during low tide. The catch is taken to shore, where traders from local markets come and begin the bidding process to purchase the fish.
I present this place as the village, because not many others were actually presented on the map. The little girls in the village were so bright and beautiful that they inspired me to record. But the recording without permission is impossible and frowned upon. My interpreter asked them for permission and they agreed. Just as I began to pull my camera equipment, a small group of community elders approached us. These few men were actually village managers, and they were here to negotiate the price for my filming. It's just like having to pay City Hall for a permit to film in major cities all around the world. I agreed to pay $5 and started filming their bright and colorful spirits. While riding my motorcycle all over the beautiful island of Pemba, I came across a stunning lighthouse located at the northern part of the island. I followed the only road there was and finally arrived at the small town built around the base of the lighthouse. Everything here was well maintained and organized. Children played at the yard while a few adults kept an eye on them from a distance. Dar es Salaam is the capital of Tanzania. It's about 200 kilometers south of here. It's also home to one of the busiest seaports in Eastern Africa. All of that shipping traffic makes the north of Pemba Island the perfect place for this lighthouse. I'm pretty sure there must also be a lighthouse at the southern part of Zanzibar, but I've never been there yet. I got off my bike and started exploring the area. I met an interesting young man that offered to show me around for a fee, and I accepted his offer. It turns out that this same young man was employed by the military as the lighthouse keeper. He began offering guided tours in order to earn some additional income. He provides tourists like me with short history lessons and breathtaking excursion of the lighthouse, just like private tour guides all over the world, turning their knowledge of an area into income by making a fun presentation to educate others. In Moscow, you can take a subway excursion, in Barcelona, you can visit historical graveyards, and in Prague, you can tour the city's souvenir system.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, right now we are at the lighthouse which is called Kingomasha, and I was just driving my bicycle through the forest, and somehow I met this handsome gentleman. His name is Mr. Ali Juma. He's a lighthouse keeper, and he's responsible for this huge lighthouse which is behind us. We cannot see it because it's that big that camera cannot record it, and we can see only the portion of this frame. And right now Mr. Ali Juma is going to tell us a few words about the history of this lighthouse. Okay?
Okay. This building is called Kingomasha Lighthouse, which is situated at the northern part of Pemba Island. Also, it's one among the oldest lighthouses in the world because it was built in 1900 by the British company called Chance Brothers and Company Limited from England. Its height is 38 meters, and the aim of this lighthouse is to guide vessels when they pass around the sea near here, means Pemba Channel, especially during night time. The former light was PPB, means paraffin under pressure burner. It was a center of thick special glasses, prism or prismatic, red one side and white the other side. So it gave out white and red beam of light. White beam showed safe areas in the sea because it was going far away, while red beam indicated only dangerous areas in the sea because it was not going far away. The glasses were rotating by using rotating mechanism. That means there was weight about 200 kilos tightened by chains which was going down slowly. So every 2 hours we had to pull up the weight all night long. So we were coming by shift. That was 1900 to 1908. From that moment, we used pressure lamp. That is another kind of lamp, but the original system of pulling up the weight till 2000. From 2000 up nowadays, we have a marine lantern, which is function very well and automatic by using solar power. And it was installed up there after big renovation of this lighthouse here. The renovation which was made by Salcon company from Unguja, the second island, or Zanzibar, and the new lamp was installed there by Ocean Engineers, which is a company from mainland Tanzania. At last, thank you for listening and welcome once again for the next moment, God wishes. Here is my identification, Mr. Ali Juma Kombo, as a lighthouse keeper.
Wow, that was a sweet story, Mr. Ali Juma. Thank you so much. All right.
Dar es Salaam is the biggest city in Tanzania. Dar es Salaam is translated from Swahili as the House of Peace. Dar es Salaam is located at the shore of Indian Ocean not far from Zanzibar. It is possible to get from island to the city on a contemporary ferry which can bring you quickly in 2 hours. The city is pretty modern, shopping malls, banks, skyscrapers and big hotels can be found here. It sticks to my memory as the city of generators. In front of big administrative buildings there are sometimes up to 5 generators are located at the same time, and they are brought to motion with big diesel tank engines. I stayed in a cheap hotel and exactly these big generators were located in front of my window. Few times they have been working for entire night. In all Eastern Africa, infrastructural problems are the main obstacle of economical development. They have no rivers, that's why it is impossible to build hydroelectric power stations. There is no natural gas as well as nuclear energy. Some people say that electricity is brought from Rwanda, where rivers and hydroelectric stations are presented. Also, I was thunderstruck with the level of corruption. The whole city is flooded with hundreds of ministries. They are everywhere. In the area of each ministry, you can see high wall, armed forces and huge parking full of Toyota Land Cruiser. The whole Pemba Island can live a whole year with the price of all these cars.
Okay guys, this is another video shoot. I'm still alive, this is good. And right now I'm located at the YMCA hostel, right in the downtown of Dar es Salaam, which is the capital of Tanzania. Today at 2 o'clock, I'm trying to catch a train. I have already bought tickets. I'm taking a train from Dar es Salaam to Mwanza. Mwanza, that is the city located on the Victoria Lake, the northern part of Tanzania. The distance between Dar es Salaam and Mwanza, it's about 1,200 kilometers. And right now, I'd like to present you some stuff that I have already prepared for the trip, because this trip is going to be really long, and I'm not sure about whether I'm going to be able to get some food or not. That's why I have some food supplies. I bought these 2 huge pineapples, paid about 2,000 Tanzanian shillings for each. It's about $1. I have one big and tasty mango. Also, I have baby bananas, paid 1,000 for this, for all of this. Also, I have a plastic container. I'm gonna put them right inside this container and cover it. Also, I have a small piece of toilet paper, because this thing is not gonna be available at the train, I swear. Also, I have cashews. I have some cashews. Also, I have a foldable knife. Of course, I will need to cut my pineapples. I have a little piece of soap, honestly stolen in a hotel. Also, I have a cheap watch, because during the trip, I'm not going to be using my cell phone, because I'm using the GPS, and it takes a lot of energy from the phone. That's why almost during the whole trip my phone is going to be off, and I'm just going to turn it on sometimes in order to see the location of the train. Also, I have a mining style flashlight. Without this thing, in Africa you cannot survive, because they don't really have electricity here. They have, but all the time it goes off, and of course in the train there is no electricity. Also, I have my earphones, sound protective earphones, goes like that. You can purchase them in a hardware store. Also, I have my sleeping mask, also honestly stolen in the plane. With this thing, you can take a sweet baby nap in a crowded place. Also, I have a mosquito spray, because I expect that train may stop on its way for a while, and I don't want to be eaten by mosquitoes while it stops. So these are my supplies for the trip.
I was getting ready to take the train from Dar es Salaam, the capital of Tanzania, to the world-famous city called Mwanza, which is located at the Victoria Lake. The train runs along the world-famous Lake Victoria, which is bordered by Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda. I arrived at the station late, so I missed my train. I went to the counter and asked, "What time is the next train leaving?" The young lady replied, "The next train is in a week." I exclaimed, "In a week?" She looked at me and said, "Yes, sir, 7 days." Stuck and disappointed, I asked her, "But why so long?" She said, "Well, sir, we only have one train. The trip takes 3 days each way, and the crew takes 1 day off. That's 7 days total." I was out of options. I had to wait. The train you see in this segment is the same one running this track since 1960s. The tracks and the train are byproducts of Great Britain's colonization of Tanzania. I googled its name and discovered that this train was built in 1960 by the Brits. It was still running and in excellent technical condition. The company that produced the train still makes parts and services all their trains. It had a big, powerful diesel engine, but it was extremely slow. The train's top speed while climbing hills couldn't have been more than 20 kilometers per hour. I actually didn't mind the slow speeds. It allowed plenty of time to take in the beautiful scenes of Tanzania's national parks. It was just great. I was able to see wild animals like giraffes, lions, lots of exotic birds. The condition of these old railways was impressive considering their age and harsh environment. All the train stations were built in the classical British style. Another strange fact of Tanzania's railroad was that there is no connection between Kenya and Tanzania, even though both countries are located in the same geographical region and there are no obstacles between them.
And that's why I love African trains, because you can sit like that. And you can sit like that during the whole trip. And nobody's not gonna tell you a word. But a few times police told me that I'm not supposed to do that. But I told them that I'm from Russia and we usually do that, and they allowed me to do so. And you know, having a ride like that is this thing is very good, because you are almost outside of the train, enjoying the fresh air coming to your face. But the only problem is that there is no fresh air right now, because the locomotive is in front of us, and all those diesel pollutions are coming right into my face. But this thing is really wonderful. I like it only because of that you can sit in this position almost outside of the train. Right now I'm sitting in the coupe of the second sleeper class in the train which goes from Dar es Salaam to Mwanza. The coupe consists of 6 beds, one located on top of each other. On one side we have 3 beds. So this is I'm sitting on the bed number 1, and this is the bed number 2, but you cannot really fold it down completely, but it goes like this. Or if you push a little bit, like with your butt, so it will serve you as a support for your back. Oi, oi, oi. What do you mean? Oya brother. Unachukua nini? How are you?
Anapeleka kwao. Sasa yeye anapiga picha alafu. Acha kabisa.
Ai.
Nakwambia hivi.
As there is no restaurant car in the train, entrepreneurs organize lively markets right at the station during stops. For the most part, people sell different homemade foods, vegetables and fruits. Some inhabitants sell handmade crafts. Surprisingly, the best-selling items are live chickens. It is hard for me to understand why anyone would buy a chicken and carry it home across the whole country. The only thing that comes to my mind is you buy it as a souvenir. According to the demand of the market, this sort of good is a blockbuster this season.
Traveling throughout Eastern African nations in 2013 changed my world completely. It was like to take a trip to a parallel alternative reality. It's hard to imagine that nowadays people live in such different conditions, customs and lifestyles on the same planet. In the developed parts of the world, we are spoiled with so many comforts that we often take for granted. Africa is a great big continent with different countries that are at different levels of development. It's still clearly evident that many parts of Africa are still living 100 years behind of the rest of the world. During my long train trip, I had an interesting conversation with a group of locals who asked me who colonized Russia. I honestly didn't know what to say. At that moment, I thought to myself, thank God Hitler didn't get this way. Before coming here, I did a lot of research to plan my route through Eastern Africa. I was looking to travel securely through a few countries. I picked Kenya and Tanzania because they are considered among the safest in the region. Countries like Chad, Somalia and Nigeria had the reputation of being unsafe to foreigners. Traveling through some of these areas might have required me to hire security. Staying in Kenya and Tanzania, I felt safe even during my time in Kibera. I met a bunch of amazingly interesting people and visited beautiful exotic locations that many don't get to experience. I feel so fortunate to have had the time and the resources to actually pull this off. This video covers my journey as a lone adventure traveler. I hope that it inspires some of you to get out and see the world as much as you can. Seeing the world from a different perspective helps you develop a healthy level of self-awareness. It will also show you the value of your creature comforts back home. That's it for today. I wish you guys all the best, and I'll see you later.